Hey everyone, it's almost Halloween, my favorite holiday, and I have decided what I'm going to be for Halloween. Now I have a box full of costumes that I've been collecting over the years, and I went through it thinking maybe I could recreate one of those, and then I found this ace bandage. And it wasn't for a mummy costume. I decided I was going to be a guy that year. That was about a decade ago, and it turned out to be one of the funniest and most clever costumes I had ever tried. It wasn't so much of a scary costume as it was shocking and really disorienting, even for myself when I looked in the mirror. And I thought, why not give myself a second shot at this to see if I could do any better now? Let me mention, this is not a makeup channel. I am not a beauty guru, and I have guy friends who have subscribed to me who said, hey, if you start making those makeup tutorials, I'm unsubscribing. But this is for Halloween, so don't judge me, Ryan. Now keep in mind, you are trying to look like the other gender, and if you have some androgynous features to your face, that's perfect. If you have very feminine features, big doe eyes, good luck. You're gonna have to work extra hard to look more manly and tough. Now, rule number one would be don't use a lot of makeup. I've seen girls try to dress up as guys and they'll still bother to put concealer on, when in fact it makes you look more just like a girl with a lot of weird makeup on and a lot of contouring. I understand if your facial features don't necessarily scream, male, but some contouring, if you're gonna do any, has to be super light. And secondly, I will be using Sharpie on my face. I know that sounds crazy, but it does come off. It always comes off your skin, otherwise we'd all be running around with little Sharpie marks on our bodies forever. It is not toxic, it is safe for your skin, and it will come off. I will show you at the end how to get it off. But I do absolutely recommend that if you are nervous about using a Sharpie on your face, to do a small, discreet test patch and wait for 24 hours to see if there's any sort of allergic reaction or irritation. Of course, there is alcohol in it, and it will smell as you're drawing the hairs around your nose, so just be prepared for that. If you feel more comfortable using a liquid liner or even just a Bic pen, although I have learned that Bic pens kind of turn a hue of blue after a few hours, and then you have a blue beard, which is interesting. But if you do use anything other than Sharpie, you probably are going to want to use an obscene amount of setting spray. Okay, disclaimers aside, let's see if I could still make myself look like a guy after all these years. Step number one in my process is a very bold step, but I've been cutting my own hair on and off. I do go to a stylist, but I mostly trim it up myself, so I have given myself a tapered bang in the past. If you have bangs, this look is going to be far more convincing than if you have to tuck away all of your hair. I would recommend braiding your hair in a milkmaid's bun, something that's going to comfortably and smoothly fit under a beanie. The beanie is going to be what covers up the whole back of your head, and if you can keep the hair off your neck, no one's going to notice. If those bangs are hanging out the front and they're short, it's a lot harder to tell that you have long hair at all. I don't recommend going out and cutting your bangs if you don't like bangs, if you are unsure of how it's going to look. Yeah, don't cut your own hair if you don't want to. Don't put Sharpie on your face if you're not comfortable with it. But if you are dedicated to making your costume convincing, and you understand that hair does grow back and marker does wash off skin, go for those little details. It'll be amazing. And take lots of pictures. All right, well, let me get started with my hair. Now that I've got my bangs the length that I actually want them, normally I would braid the back of my hair because it makes it much easier to tuck inside a beanie, but for now I'm just pulling it back in a ponytail so you can get the idea. Now I didn't entirely bother greasing back the sides of my hair because most of this will be under a beanie, but I am going to try and make whatever hair is showing a little bit thicker and darker looking, just to fill in my hair. That way you can't tell it's pulled back as much. And you can define a more male hairline. By the way, if you got a pimple, like I do, don't cover it up. Actually, that's kind of perfect. Let's make it nice and pigmented in here to make it seem like I cut a lot more hair. And it also hides my widow's peak a great deal. Men tend to have a very drastic hairline right here, so if you can blend that in to the very ends of your hair, it'll distract everyone from the fact that your hair is pulled back. I tried to convince my boyfriend to dress up as a girl. He said no. I even put my wig on him. I think he'd make a really cute girl. He'd be a 6 foot tall girl, but you know. Next, we're gonna do the eyes. I'd prefer to work from top to bottom so I'm not smudging anything later. You can use a little bit of whatever eyebrow makeup you're used to. So guys tend to have a lot more facial hair, obviously. Therefore, their eyebrows are also much thicker. Oh, how I wish I was born with nice, thick, natural eyebrows. Those girls that have really healthy, full eyebrows could pull this off really well. Now here's where stuff really gets fun. This has a pretty fine tip. This is a little smaller than the normal size Sharpie. On the other end is a nice ultra fine tip. This is what we're going to use to draw every individual hair. Now drawing these hairs takes a little bit of skill and finesse, and I suggest practicing on your arm first. That's how I learned to do it. You find a pore, don't press too hard at any point because you don't want big ink blobs. You sort of flick upwards and away from the skin. Now this will actually create a 3D effect if you do it right and you have the patience. I haven't done this in ages, so it may look like trash in the video, but you know, I guess stick around and you'll see exactly what it looks like on Halloween night. So, if you have to look up the hair patterns of men's beards, men's eyebrows, notice that they aren't as smooth and curved. They have those jagged hairs that kind of go inward, but don't go overboard. If your boyfriend has a bit of a unibrow, don't go copying those details unless you want to be really scary. So, with patience, draw individual hairs until your eyebrows fill out. Okay, we're going to start from the top of the sideburns on either side and work our way down into a sort of natural pattern. God, I hope I don't fuck this up, but that is why we practice. Alright. The very first time I did this costume, one of my guy friends was insistent on being a woman for Halloween. I lent him one of my goth dresses, and I made him shave his armpits before he put that on. And I decided I was gonna go home and grab my pirate costume that year. As soon as I got home though, I was like, I could probably pull off being a guy. And I threw on this random costume. I tried to put on like 2 tank tops just to pin down my chest, and it didn't look really convincing. And when I got back to his house, he offered me this ace bandage. The first person who really had a reaction to my costume was our other friend. She had gone home to get her costume, comes back in and sees me on the couch. Oh, hey, how's it going? Turns to our friend Andrew. Andrew, where's Jen? He points back to me, and I was just like, hey, how's it going? And she's like, ooh, we're like, hello. So awkward and yet so hilarious. It was just amusing to see someone genuinely not thought she would have recognized me. Turns out it was really clever. But like I said, I do have some androgynous features, so I guess it was really convincing. I remember that same night walking into a women's restroom at a local bar, and there were some looks. Like I walked through the door and girls were like, what's a guy doing in here? That, like, we're about to yell at you sort of look that girls can give. I was like, it's okay, I'm not a guy. And they had to hear a woman's voice come out of me to be sure that I didn't just walk into the wrong bathroom. I would have gone full Jenna Marbles and used spirit gum and glued on a beard, but I hate spirit gum. I've never used it personally, but I was in a musical performance and helped a friend glue his beard and mustache on, and I got some on my thumb, and it was on for like 2 days. By the way, if your pen is getting dry, it's always a good thing to get extra markers. The way you do your facial hair really depends on you. If you want to be accurate, find out what your bloodline is. Actually, if you know what that is, you can look at people. I'm Irish. If I look up an Irish beard and go off that style, but your average man has pretty much the same facial growth pattern with certain variations. Make sure the mustache is very delicate. Mustaches are important to men for some reason, so if you draw it really bad, a man is gonna know you're not a real man. So make sure those hairs are drawn in the direction you would want them groomed. It's really hard to put yourself in the mind of a man. I want to point out that the detail isn't necessarily in all of this. It's right at the edge of the hairline. So if you can get individual pores drawn in there with a fine tip, only needs to be super detailed on the edges. In reality, a lot of guys have the issue of their hair kind of creeping right into their mouth. So if you can draw a couple fine hairs touching your lip, like actually going over the line of your lip, that'd be perfect. In order to hide, see how it's shiny right there? If you're standing under any harsh light, it's better to make it a bit matte and take away the shine with a little bit more dark powder. But immediately after this, you have to set your makeup so that you're not smudging everything. I think the best thing about a costume, no matter what it is to take on the character that you're actually trying to be. There's no fun in just dressing up as a pirate unless you're gonna say "arg" at least like 20 times and talk about people's candy as if it's treasure and that you're gonna steal their treasure. So being a guy, try to be tough, try to be all macho, just try to mimic what you see guys doing. It's your own interpretation. And so long as someone's getting a laugh out of it, it's totally worth doing. It's the weirdest trip to see yourself switch genders. And I can see why drag queens and drag kings do it. Drag kings is a term, right? I feel like I've heard that before, but I live under a rock, okay? So I'd say the best thing to do when you're actually building your costume, get an extra wide ace bandage like I have, find a shirt that's not too big and not too well fit to you. You want it to be a little baggy. It makes you look a little bit bigger. And if you have very thin arms, you can also put a long sleeve shirt on. There we go. Oh god. Oh god. It's so weird. Oh, that is a trip. Building shirts over each other and creating layers will kind of give you a broader torso and shoulder look. This is my boyfriend's shirt and it's still too big for me, so I think I'll just stick with my Rolling Stones t-shirt. So you're not just gonna wanna borrow a shirt, you're also gonna wanna either go out and buy or borrow a pair of guy jeans that will make you look a lot more proportionate than if you were just trying to wear a normal pair of your jeans, because people are gonna be able to tell that you're wearing chick jeans. I actually wear Jinko jeans all the time. They're super comfy, even though they are a guy's brand. So I'm just gonna wear a pair of my own and possibly borrow this shirt, but I feel like it's a little too baggy for me. So I don't know, but I should draw more hairline to hide my throat. That's not okay. I need to go a little further next time. You have to have a personality that's just gonna scream tomboy or something, because this is an easy costume for me because I already behave very boyish. This is a really fun social experiment. I'm sure you'll get all kinds of reactions. Like, for example, I didn't realize women could be so terrifying until I walked into a woman's restroom and actually got the scariest looks I've ever seen in my life. I thought I was about to get jumped by every girl in that bathroom. I was like, ah! This is all in good fun. If you get, like, any rude comments, just laugh them off. It's Halloween. If someone doesn't get it, they're an idiot. And, keep in mind, clip your fingernails and any other small detail that you think might give you away as a girl. Take your piercings out of your ears. So I know what you're thinking now. You're thinking, you idiot, how are you gonna get that off of your face? I'm glad you asked. I do want to tell you how to get it off. Soap and water. Keep in mind, you did put some in your hairline, so don't forget to wash that out. And now I have to deal with bangs for the next 3 months. Joy. That's okay. They're cute. Rubbing alcohol. Oof. And then, of course, good old classic makeup remover. Oh, my eyebrows. Well, thank you guys for sitting and watching me be bizarre and practice this odd makeup tutorial. But if you were in fact looking for a gender bender makeup tutorial, I really hope some of this helped, and I hope I reassured you that it is okay to use marker on your face. So I hope you guys all have a fun and happy Halloween. Put on a regular shirt, usually black so they can't tell the shape of your body, and a good solid print in the front. It'll really distract from the fact that you have any boobs at all. Like, do I look like I have boobs or pecs? You decide. It's like the weirdest thing I've ever done on this channel.